Alrighty. Hello guys, it is Fate here, and today I'll be doing part 2 to What If Naruto was raised by Jiraiya and Tsunade. Um, let's hope we can hit 5 likes. This episode is probably pre-recorded because I'm recording it right after the previous episode, and I'm really liking this fanfiction so far. So, let us get started. Son of the Sanin by Ander Arias. Naruto lost his parents the night of his birth due to Kyuubi escaping, but fortunately Jiraiya and Tsunade are willing to take care of him in their place. Watch how life unfolds while being raised by the Sanin, and how such acting will change not only Naruto's life, but the lives of those around him. Light alternate universe. Chapter 2 Midnight Drinks, or Uchihas are weird. 6 months after Kyuubi attack. Jiraiya and Tsunade were both exceptional ninja, the kind that they only appear once every few generations. They both graduated the academy at an age most kids still can't tie their shoelaces, and made Chunin before hitting puberty, and managed to become Jonin before becoming 16. From that point onward, the two Sanin and their fallen teammate Orochimaru took a myriad of dangerous missions. If it was a task with a high if there was a task with a high chance of dying, they would do it without receiving a single scratch. If there was a mission that appeared to be impossible, they took it as long as they made it look as if it could be done by mere genin. They never stopped to better themselves and improve their areas of skill. Jiraiya had became a seal master of renown and one of the very few senjutsu practitioners alive. Tsunade became one of the best medical ninjas the world ever knew, and both of them became incredibly powerful ninja. Overshadowed, I can't talk. Overshadowed by few and admired by many. Still, despite all the skills they had learned and honed over their lifespans, nothing could prepare them for the horror that it was of taking care of a baby. Naruto used to cry a lot, often for no reason, and at completely random times, though he was rather fond of doing it at nighttime. He had to be watched constantly or else he would somehow disappear, only to mysteriously appear outside the house. He would try to grab anything within his short reach, and more often than not, he would try to eat it. One of the few things that would calm Naruto whenever he was having a crying fit was Tsunade holding him against her chest. her chest. Jiraiya joked that Tsunade's knockers would of course have a soothing effect on men, no matter their age. Yet it turned out to be more of a joke. It turned out to be more than a joke when the Slug Princess breastfed Naruto, and little Jinchuriki just wouldn't let go of her breast. What the fuck? Hello, I'm jealous. Put me in Naruto's place. I was joking. The fact that the baby was positively elated whenever Tsunade started to undo her blouse wasn't a good sign at all. This is bad. You're not even a year old. Jiraiya is already rubbing off with you. Tsunade said after the first time it happened. Or then again, it would become something else, since Naruto's stomach was a bottomless pit. He would eat a lot and would never be satisfied. He always wanted more, and whenever his food was denied, he would go into a crying fit. Everybody wondered where the hell his little body stored all that food. On the bright side, Naruto was at least easy to feed, if a bit costly. Today was one of Tsunade's 2 days off after a rather long shift at the hospital. She would have to spend all the day sleeping, but neither Jiraiya nor Shizune was there, so she had to watch over Naruto, who just had calmed down from one of his random crying fits. She sighed in relief when she heard the main door opening. "Tsunade-sama, I'm back," said Shizune's voice as she entered the house. Shizune was wearing a green flagged vest, common among the Konoha Chunin and Jonin over her usual clothes. A forehead protector was wrapped around her head. Unlike Tsunade and Jiraiya, Shizune showed interest in joining the Konoha Ninja. Shikaki Nara, Konoha's current Jonin commander, along with other Jonin, tested her ability to determine her rank, and they decided she was good enough to be a Chunin. Plus, she was a good medic, something Konoha was in desperate need of. Everybody hoped that Tsunade's presence in the village would solve this issue. Good, because I need you to buy some baby food. I was about to go myself, but you know how Naruto gets when we go out and he's hungry, the blonde woman replied. What? And what happened to all that baby food I bought before I left for my mission? Shizune asked, incredulous. Tsunade stared at her in a way that said, you really need to ask. Without further ado, the younger woman nodded and went to buy the much needed food. Tsunade wondered what Jiraiya was doing. Given that the Toche would rarely left the house, Tsunade had forbidden him from doing any research anymore, meaning that he could only use his imagination to write his erotic novels. She was hoping that he would take care of the babe while she had taken a much-needed nap. But unfortunately for the legendary sucker, Inambu appeared, claiming that the Hokage requested Jiraiya's presence. Of course, such convenient timing. It seemed that fate was conspiring against her. Meanwhile, in the Hyuga compound, a toddler sneezed. Neji. Sensei, I wasn't expecting that you'd call me into action so soon. Are you sure that this mission is something no other ninja but me can do? The Toad Sage asked, a bit skeptical. Once the old Hokage activated all the pirate seals, he answered, yes indeed. You're the best information gathered in the village. What the fuck? You're the best information gatherer this village has seen? What? I think they mean you're the best information gatherer this village has seen. If anybody can unfold this mystery, it's you. Let me guess. You think that QB escaping Kushina wasn't an accident? Jiraiya ventured to ask, because we all knew something that could happen. We all knew that it was something that could happen. Yes, and we said the proper measures, but no, that's not why we came to this conclusion, and that there. No, that's not why we came to the conclusion that there is somebody behind the attack. Unlike me, then, after the QB had been contained, we could recover the bodies of my wife, Biwako, who had been a midwife during the delivery, as well as a few Ambu that had stationed to make sure nothing happened. The autopsy revealed wounds infected by ninja weapons. You should have told me this much earlier, Jiraiya asked. Maybe, but I didn't want to call you into action so soon. You see, there is another investigation going on during these past months, carried out by Zanzo and his branch of Ambu. Jiraiya frowned upon hearing that name. Dondo was known for being an extremist, often inducted orphans to bolster his organization's ranks. Was an open critic to Sarutobi's conciliatory efforts with other villages, and never bothered to hide that he wanted to be Hokage more than anything. Fortunately, he never had enough support to achieve such ambition. I see. Did they find something? If Jiraiya was asking this, he knew that there were two possible answers. They either found nothing, or they found something that Sarutobi didn't like, and wanted the second option. The super pervert prayed for the former, but just like Tsunade, fate felt like it was conspiring against Asami. Yes, Sarutobi said, sighing. Danzo and I have been discussing the events of that night. According to many witnesses he interrogated, it's not like the QB simply broke through our walls. It suddenly appeared in the middle of the village, coming out in a cloud of smoke. That sounds awfully similar to summoning jutsu, Jiraiya pointed out. Indeed, it is. But then again, summoning this QB, the only person I can think of being able to pull something like that is Madara Uchiha, and he had been dead for decades. Maybe he had an apprentice, someone who trained on how to tame killed beasts? It sounds rather far-fetched. We all know that Madara left the village alone, and tried to attack it alone. He never married nor had any children that could avenge his death. Anyways, Gando decided that Madara, I can't talk. But apparently most Naruto names actually are said in a French accent, which is actually my first language, so that's pretty cool. Gando decided that Madara was a good starting point. He made some interesting discoveries. Besides Hashirama Sensei, Madara was also had a way to control the tail beast. We believe it was Sharingan. You see, Madara's Sharingan was not normal. Apparently, he had managed to awaken a higher level of the Sharingan that granted him extraordinary new powers. So, Madara was an unbelievably powerful ninja who had plenty of unique abilities, just like Hashirama. That doesn't mean said abilities can be replaced by his clansmen, just like how Hashirama's descendants did not inherit the wood release. The thing is, they can be replicated. You see, this new Sharingan named Mangekyo Sharingan is an ability every Uchiha can attain, but very few do because of its high price. If what Dando uncovered is accurate, the prerequisite to awaken this Mangekyo Sharingan is to murder with your own hand someone who you're close to or love. The Uchiha might be a bit too eager, but not even them would go so far just for the sake of power. But Dando believes that one of them did. Yes. Even if that's true, what was the point of throwing the QB into a village? What would this person have gained? Wait, please tell me Dando doesn't believe the whole clan was behind the attack. Sadly, he does. Stupid one-eyed zealot, Jiraiya muttered. This made the Tonsani feel grateful for not having Dando as the Hokage. Or else the situation could have been much worse. That's stupid on every level. I know, that's why I ordered the Uchiha to stay in the rear and help the civilian evacuate. To help the civilian evacuation. He didn't want any Uchiha to be near the QB. Of course, a thief leaves, everybody steals, Jiraiya said. He had no doubt that what Dando would do if he had power to tame the beast. You have to stop Dando. The Uchiha are already cranky, as they are without him poking them with a stick. That's why I called you, Jiraiya. The only way I can stop Dando is with enough tangible evidence to discredit his own investigation, and I can't think of anybody better than you to gather that said evidence. While I'm flattered that you think so highly of my skills, I'm not omniscient. This will take quite some time. I know. While you're working, I'll make sure to keep Donzo on a tight leash. All right then, Jiraiya said as he headed for the door. Oh, and one more thing. Hmm? Do you realize that if I work on this, it'll cut into my writing time, meaning I will take much longer to finish the next each book, right? Saratobi gasped in shock. His eyes opened wide in horror. But said horror was short-lived, and his face was soon relaxed. A sad smile formed on his mouth. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the greater good, Jiraiya, regardless of how painful they may be. Shizune was in a wait 1 second. Shizune was in a mart close to her home, carrying out Tsunade's request. After finding Naruto's favorite brand of baby food, she decided to buy all of it in one go to save further trips, though she couldn't help but wonder how long it would last. He needed to teach the he needed to, nah bruh. They mean she. She needed to teach that kid the meaning of the word moderation. Excuse me, miss, a voice behind Chizune said. The black-haired Kunoichi turned around and saw a boy looking at her. The boy was about 5 or 6 years old. He had dull black hair with long enough to be styled into a ponytail, deep black eyes, and wore a black shirt, black pants, and blue sandals. He appeared to be an Uchiha. Yes, can I help you? Chizune said, putting up her best smile. Do you really need all that baby food? I'd like some too, if it's not asking too much. There is more baby food left here. Yes, but that is the only brand my brother will eat without throwing a tantrum, the black-haired boy said. Oh, I can totally relate to that, Shizune said, giggling. Guess that I wasn't too nice. No, they mean guess it wasn't too nice of me to take all of that. How many would you like? 2 would be enough. Shizune complied and gave 2 jars of baby food to the boy. Thank you. Or no, there you go. Thank you, miss. My name's Shizune, by the way. Itachi Uchiha, the boy said, confirming Shizune's guess. Nice to meet you, Itachi-kun. Your brother is lucky to have such a nice and caring big brother like you taking care of him. Itachi blushed a bit. Thanks. Both of them headed to the cashier. Itachi decided to keep talking. You know, that baby of yours must be really big if he eats that much, Itachi commented, looking at Shizune's basket, loaded with jars of baby food. That's the funny thing. He's so little. Tsunade-sama said that one day she's going to find where all that food goes, because he's always hungry and he never gets fat. Tsunade-sama? Itachi repeated, then a realization suddenly dawned on him. Wait a minute, that baby of yours, is the kid with the demon fox sealed inside of him, right? Shizune's bright mood suddenly darkened, and pondered if she should answer him. But then again, most of the village already knew her as one of Naruto's caretakers, so lying would be pointless. Yes, it is. And how is he? Itachi asked with genuine curiosity. What do you mean? Does he have something that makes him different from the other babies? Nothing that I have noticed. Trust me, deep down he's like everyone else. My parents didn't say anything, but I heard many grown-ups saying that he's dangerous and that we should stay away from him. That's nonsense. Naruto's a normal kid, just like any other. Because he has a demon sealed inside him doesn't make him dangerous. The seal of the fourth place on him will make sure the QB won't see the daylight in a long, long time. Then why did they bring Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama Then why did they... Yeah, what the fuck? Let me just make no sense again. Then why did they bring Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama taking care of him? I think they mean, then why did they make Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama take care of him? I'm just going to while going on with the story, I'm going to correct it in my head. But if you hear a lot of stuttering, that is completely my fault. I'm just trying to correct it ahead of time. Shizune didn't like the course the conversation was taking. What do you mean by bring? They say that the Hokage had to recall the 2 legendary Sannin to keep the demon fox under watch to make sure he doesn't try to destroy Konoha again. Shizune was livid. Where did that rumor come from? Wasn't people worried that Jiraiya being the kid's godfather and Tsunade being the only blood relative alive? It was obvious that neither Tsunade nor Jiraiya-sama had heard of the rumors, or else they would have done something. She remembered the first time she decided to take a walk while carrying Naruto on a stroller. People shouted at her to get away from them, that she was putting them in danger, by taking that thing out of its cage. And at first she tried to ignore them and go somewhere else. Whenever he went, the treatment she got was the same. They couldn't be afraid. How could they be afraid of such an innocent creature? The next day she went for a walk with Naruto. Tsunade went with them as well. As they got the same treatment, the moment they placed foot on another street, that was a fatal mistake. Only Shizune's pleas stopped Tsunade from leveling the entire district. Still, quite a few people had to be hospitalized From the day onward, the verbal abuse stopped, things didn't change much. Whenever Shizune would walk with Naruto, people would simply return to their homes or leave the tree until she and her ward were far enough for some people. Until her and her ward were far enough. What? Were far enough. Sorry, bless myself. Some people muttered under their breath words the medic and train couldn't hear but could guess. They also shot her cold stares. She feared that Naruto would have a hard time making friends, but then again, this was a new scenario for her. She, um, she was already, she was already knew. While she already knew that most adults thought about Naruto, uh, what most adults thought of Naruto, she was now talking to a child with no visible parent present. It was a golden opportunity, not only to learn what the children would think of Naruto, but to erase whatever prejudice were implanted inside his young mind. So I'm drinking water. Let me tell you that's a lie. Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama are taking care of Naruto because both of them had strong ties with their parents. If it wasn't for that case, then Naruto would be in an orphanage or under the care of some foster family. He doesn't need to be under watch. Like I told you before, the fourth seal will make sure the QB never returns. Itachi's expression didn't change. I see. Then if you live with him, you're not afraid the QB won't be back? Then I shouldn't be afraid either. Exactly. I'm so glad you understand it. Shizune said, elated. Maybe there was hope after all. After praying for the baby food, Shizune and Itachi went their separate ways. Goodbye, Shizune-san. It was nice to meet you. Feeling mutual, Itachi-kun. Feelings mutual, Itachi-kun. I hope we can meet again sometime soon. Shizune was in a considerably better mood now. That Itachi looked like a really nice and smart kid. Too bad he was not old to be Naruto's playmate. Or no, too bad he was too old to be Naruto's playmate. If only Naruto could meet some kid like him, then maybe he won't have to worry about him growing up without friends. Nevertheless, that personality felt more plausible now. Maybe Jiraiya-sama was right about trusting the next generation. Tsunade was already forgetting spending the afternoon napping. Since once night arrived, she was too rested to fall asleep. She constantly shifted in her bed, trying to get into a comfortable position, fluffed her pillow multiple times, and opened the window in order to allow some fresh breeze in. Closed the window once the room was too cold, and opened the window again, until she punched the pillow in frustration. Maybe her best friend since she became an adult would be some help. She got up from the bed and put a robe and went to the living room. Turned out Jiraiya was there. 1 second, be right back. Alrighty, I am back. I'm not sure where it was. Where is it? Turned out Jiraiya was there, also awake, as well as her and Jiraiya's best friend, a bottle of sake. What are you doing up so late? Jiraiya asked. I could ask you the same, Tsunade retorted. True, but I did ask first. Tsunade groaned. Okay, fine, I couldn't sleep and thought some sake could help. So you may pour me a cup now? What about you? Sarutobi-sensei tasked me with the big-ass mission that's going to take years to complete. And if I fail, Konoha's relationship with the Uchiha clan may go down the drain. Jiraiya said as he carefully poured some sake on Tsunade's cup. I thought that you'd sleep like a log, given how overworked you've been this week. I spent all the day sleeping, so yeah, I guess that I messed up my sleeping cycle, Tsunade said as he emptied her sake cup in one go. Jiraiya refilled it without a single word from the blonde. Do you hear that? Jiraiya asked. Hear what? Tsunade said, taken aback. Was somebody trying to break into their home? I hear nothing. Exactly. Naruto hadn't cried a single time since sunset. I think that's a first. I didn't realize that. And here we are, unable to sleep in our own silent night. Unable to sleep in our first silent night since we took care of that noisy brat. You've never been someone who appreciated irony. Oh, I do appreciate irony when it comes to somebody else. Here, you're quite a smart girl, aren't you? Jiraiya chuckled. By the way, Hime, can I ask you something? I'm not drunk enough for that. Wow, shut down before I even asked. But I didn't mean that. Did you ever imagine your life turning out like this? Tsunade wondered about the question. The answer was a definitive no. Since she was young, her picture of the future was her being married to her boyfriend Dan Kato, who would be Hokage, her little brother Naoki on his way to succeed him in the future. They would have at least 2 children. Tsunade would be retired from active duty and would work at the hospital, either treating the sick and wounded, or helping shape the minds of the future generation of medics. Yet, fate had different plans for her. Den and Naoki's lives were brutally cut short before her very eyes. Unable to deal with so much death around her, she decided to flee Konoha and wander aimlessly around the world. She stopped thinking about the future and focused on the present. But the few times she did think in the future, she could only picture herself either dying alone in an alleyway after drinking way too much. But being back in Konoha and raising a kid alongside Jiraiya? No, that never entered her mind. Hearing about the fate of Naruto's parents awoke a spark of determination within Tsunade that the Sanin thought was long extinct. Maybe she failed to save Dan and Naoki, but she swore that she would do her best to ensure Naruto's safety. Yet something that at first appeared to be some sort of self-imposed atonement task turned out to be rather pleasant. Taking care of Naruto was a taxing job, but Tsunade considered it much rewarding. While living with Jiraiya didn't appeal to her one bit, the Toad Sage was a much nicer housemate than she had expected. In all these months, she had never broke one of the rules she had set. It almost felt like the old times. No, Tsunade finally answered. Not that I complain, I didn't achieve much after leaving the village. I feel that I'm doing something with my life again. Guess that old monkey was right. Huh? What about you? Like Tsunade, Jiraiya also had dreams. He dreamed of marrying Tsunade and maybe having a couple brats with her. They'd live in a huge mansion. His reputation as a writer would even surpass his reputation as a ninja. People would fawn over him, gush about his talents, and ask him to sign their books. He convinced Orochimaru to drop his evil ways and return back to Konoha. Like Tsunade, Jiraiya didn't think in the future, not even once, since he was too afraid to think about it. His life was plagued by failures and very little accomplishments. So far, his life was a cycle of doing his research to write books and earn money, then blow up that money on alcohol, and women, then start to work on his next book. Yet here he was, living under the same roof as Tsunade, without even being in a relationship with her, and taking care of one who wasn't his or Tsunade's. It was a good thing that Jiraiya did appreciate irony, but then again, now he suddenly didn't feel so afraid of thinking about the future. The thought that Tsunade and Naruto were part of it brought some comfort to his tortured mind. No, but even if being a swinging bachelor, unchained by responsibilities such as fatherhood, was something I greatly enjoyed, being Hiroshige and taking care of Minato's brats is a nice change of pace. By the way, how's the new book coming along? Slower than usual, between my back on duty and you not letting me do more research. Not gonna happen. At least as long as you want to continue living in this house and raising Naruto. I didn't say anything. No, but you're thinking about it. It was you who asked me about the book, and I didn't know you could read in minds now. Are you part of the Yamanaka as well? Besides, being Senju and Uzumaki, I don't need mind reading powers to know what you're thinking. You've always been an open book. I see. Do I make for an interesting read then? Dry said with a wide grin on his face. When you behave properly, you certainly do. Dry chuckled, but didn't say anything in return. They both continued drinking until Tsunade thought about something worth talking about. What do you think Orochimaru is doing right now? Jiraiya almost choked on his sake. Oh, come on, Hime. We're having a moment here, and you can't ruin it by bringing up that treacherous snake. I believe that you and I don't share the same definition of having a moment. And given that we're reflecting on our lives in the future, I thought it would be fitting to talk about him. He used to be our teammate. Don't remind me. Well, from what I knew, the snake's probably cutting up some poor bastard in a vain effort to understand the natural order of the universe, in quotes, or bullshit like that. You know, it's kind of sad that he's the only one of us whose life was turning out the way he planned it. He doesn't seem to have any regrets over anything. Maybe if we decided to go rogue instead of legally retiring, we would have been happy. Trust me, Orochimaru is everything but happy. He wanted to become Hokage, yet that got denied. And he's embarked on a foolish quest for immortality that will end in disaster, simply because the guy is too afraid to die. The only thing that will stop me from enjoying his eventual demise is all the innocent lives he's going to take with him. You know, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that to make me feel better, or to make you feel better about yourself. I'm not saying it because of that. Well, maybe a little. When you're down, seeing other people down, especially hated enemies, can bring a bit of consolation. But I know that everything I said is true. Do you think we'll see him again? I'm afraid so. I don't think he'll let go of the grudge against Konoha and his sensei. He'll come back for revenge. Maybe not now, but sometime in the future. I'm certain of it. Well, that's an uplifting thought. Once again, it was you who asked. Yeah, bringing up Orochimaru might not have been a very good idea. It's okay, alcohol can do that to you. Speaking of which, more sake? I think I'll pass, Tsunade said with a wave of her hand, and Jiraiya gave her a look. Don't stare at me like that. I might like to drink, but I even know when I had enough. I think I'm going back to bed. Yeah, that's a good idea. Jiraiya said as he was expecting Tsunade to miss I'm just going to fix the grammar. He was expecting Tsunade to misinterpret his words and loudly say how she didn't invite him to enter her bed, but said in comments never came. You said, I think that maybe we should do this more often, or at least whenever we can't sleep. I'll have to buy more sake then. Good night, Tsunade Hime. Good night, Jiraiya. And that, no. Maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe it was the heart to heart, but both Tsunade and Jiraiya were feeling a little better about themselves, and managed to fall asleep rather quickly, and would have remained asleep till the next morning if it wasn't for a certain somebody waking up all of a sudden. Wow! Okay, let me fix that. Wow! I don't know. Naruto's cry could be heard through the neighborhood. I hate that kid so much, Tsunade grumbled as she lazily got out of bed. And that is it with the chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and part 2 to What If Naruto Was Raised by Tsunade and Jiraiya. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash a like and subscribe. Let's go for 5 likes, I guess. And I'll see you in the next video very, very soon.